We learned Haru's clone has been covering for him at the academy, but the clone tells Haru there is a proficiency exam before the entrance ceremony. But he refuses to take it because he's been miserable being stuck at the academy. Haru thinks that if he does terribly it could be the perfect chance to get kicked out. We see him sneaking around the academy trying to avoid any social interaction, but he's caught by a professor named Polko. The professor guides him inside, taking him to a lecture room, and Haru thinks about what it's like to start at a new school, but this just makes him depressed. Haru is determined to fail at all costs, and the professor gives him his test. He actually has no idea how to answer the question, so he just puts down he has no clue. There's a section about barrier magic which he answers properly, thinking he can't make it too obvious he's trying to fail. There's also a section on ancient magic, and Haru remembers the books where he would read about it, accidentally answering the questions without thinking. The professor tells him he also needs to do a mana assessment, but Haru thinks there's no point since he's just going to be level 2. The professor says it's just their procedure, and Haru thinks it will be a good chance to show how weak he is. Haru is taken to another room where he meets a tiny doctor named Toretta. She introduces herself as the ancient magic researcher at the school, and she tells him not to get ahead of himself just because he was recommended by the king, and she says she will send him home if he gets on her bad side. But this just makes Haru excited. Toretta looks over the answers from his test and she finds them to be quite interesting. They move on to the mana assessment, and Haru expects to be level 2. There's a huge amount of energy and the crystal ball ends up shattering. The professors are stunned and Haru is shocked he broke it. He thinks Toretta must be mad at him and he hopes to get sent home, but she just finds him incredible, thinking he must have so much power that the crystal couldn't handle this. She also points out his responses from his test, thinking he is bold to just say he has no clue, and she is impressed by his knowledge about barriers as well as ancient magic. Toretta decides to take Haru as her personal disciple, telling him to join her with her research. But he instantly refuses. Toretta begs him to join, but he just excuses himself. He explains to his clone what happened, and his clone is annoyed he made such a good first impression, but they are still determined not to give up. The day of the entrance ceremony arrives and Charlotte gives clone Haru a gun. He thinks about how he is forced to take Haru's place, but since he has no magic he is protected by Haru's barrier and the gun is for self-defense. After the entrance ceremony, clone Haru rushes out to get back to his room. He suddenly notices a group of popular students and he thinks he should avoid them at all costs as he passes by. The leader of the group calls out, but he's actually talking to Iris. Clone Haru thinks he should just get back to his room, but he ends up running into Iris. The other student gets annoyed, thinking he's being ignored, and he introduces himself as Schneider, the student vice president. He calls them out for not paying their respects to him, but Iris claims she just joined the academy so she didn't know that was a rule. Schneider points to clone Haru, telling him to explain how things work, but he suddenly pretends to have a stomach ache trying to get away. But Schneider thinks he's being mocked, so he decides to teach him a lesson. Clone Haru tries to run, but he ends up getting hit in the back. However, he gets right back up and Schneider can't believe he's completely fine. Clone Haru quickly pretends to be in pain, but this just pisses Schneider off. Iris apologizes for getting Haru involved, but she doesn't understand why Schneider is so angry, and clone Haru realizes Iris has even worse social skills than him. Schneider refuses to be made a fool of and he prepares to attack with multiple spells. Clone Haru is left with no choice, firing his gun and then quickly running away. Haru learns about everything that happened, and his clone also notes he is being chased around by Toretta. Haru sends him back home to rest and he thinks about what he should do. He receives a duel request from Schneider's associate and he tries to decline it, but the girl tells him it would bring dishonor to his family. Haru thinks it's a massive pain and he wonders how he can get out of the duel without getting hurt. He continues to monitor the girl but sees Iris following the girl onto her carriage. They end up going to Schneider's house and Iris tries to ask for Haru's duel to be called off. She points out his injury, saying he's in no shape to fight, but this only pisses him off. Haru continues to watch and Schneider tells Iris to know her place. Iris wonders what it will take for him to call the duel off, and Schneider tells her to strip and dance for him. Iris agrees to this and she actually starts to do it. But Haru can't bear to watch and everything goes dark. If you like my videos, you can support me by becoming a channel member, or you can donate me on Buy Me a Coffee. Your support will encourage me to make more videos. You can find links in the video description.
Yeah.
He appears as the Black Knight, telling Iris she's being dumb and telling her to go home. Schneider wonders what's going on, calling for help, but Haru mentions they are in another dimension. Schneider wonders who he is and Haru calls himself a hero of justice, saying he's there to punish him. Schneider tries to attack him but Haru suddenly pins his shoulder, causing him to fall in pain. Haru goes over his sins from picking on new students trying to punish him with a duel and telling Iris to dance for him. Haru tells him to reflect on his actions and tells him he's stuck with the pin in his shoulder until he has atoned for his sins. He mentions that the pin will only get tighter if he tries to remove it or use any magic, but Schneider tries to attack anyway, but this only causes him pain. Haru disappears and everyone is returned to the room. Schneider's friend tries to heal him, but this only causes him pain and Schneider swears to get his revenge. As the story continues, we see that Haru is being praised by all the teachers for defeating Schneider and wonders if he is actually level 2. Haru is disappointed as he thought he would be kicked out of the school for his actions, but instead, he was praised. As he walks to his room, he hears students talking about him defeating the Duke's son. The introvert MC can't take this attention and rushes back to his room. On the way, he is stopped by Tirieta, who tries to convince him to join his lab. She explains the 2 courses available in the academy, and he has to choose one. The first one is the night course where he'll learn about magic and its application, for students aspiring to become soldiers to serve their country. The second one is the scholar course where he'll shut himself in a lab and invent new magic. She asks him to join her lab since he's interested in ancient magic and urges him to sign the papers, but he still hesitates to join her. Just then, Laius arrives, attempting to greet him with a friendly punch, and Haru quickly puts him to the ground, wondering who he is. Marianne arrives, and Haru realizes that it's Laius. Laius wonders if Haru has grown stronger, and Haru wonders what kind of steroids Laius has been taking. Haru asks them what they want, and Laius tells him not to be so formal, but Haru clarifies that he was speaking to his sister, which annoys Laius. Marianne wants Haru to join her lab, while Laius wants him to join his lab, but Tirieta interrupts them, asserting that Haru will join her lab, and they start fighting over Haru. Just then, the white-haired girl interrupts them, as she has some business with Haru. Haru uses this opportunity to leave with her and escape the situation. Everyone is shocked, and Marianne wonders about his relationship with the white-haired girl. As they reach outside, the white-haired girl asks him if he is the same person from yesterday as he seems different. Haru is shocked and accidentally casts a protection barrier. Although she can't see the barrier, she can still feel it, and he is surprised. She tells him that compared to yesterday, she senses a massive amount of magic energy from him, and she's overwhelmed by the pressure. Haru realizes that till now, only Flay has ever mentioned this, and he asks her if she's a demon. She tells him that she's a human, and if she's not, it would be a problem, while Haru thinks that she answers everything in a strange way. He removes the barrier and asks her to pretend that both persons she saw from yesterday and today are the same. However, he can't tell her more about it, and she agrees. She then apologizes to him for dragging him into the Sheeter incident and also thanks him for his help with it. She then requests him to be friends, and he accidentally accepts. He wonders why she wants to be his friend, and she tells her story about how she was abandoned after being born and kept getting thrown out 4 more times. Haru asks her about the reason, and she tells him it started happening after she started to communicate with others. Haru thinks it might be similar to how he talked to Flay as a baby, as a talking baby would be surprising to normal people. She tells him that finally, a monastery took her in, but the only priest who was nice to her died when she was at the age of 5. Since it was an isolated place, she couldn't communicate with anyone, so she doesn't have any common sense. She wants to befriend Haru to learn about the same, but he tells her that she got the wrong person as he is the ultimate shut-in with no friends or common sense. She thinks it's perfect as they are both similar, and Haru thinks about the friends he had in the previous life who always used to make him do stuff for them. This gives him an idea, and he thinks of using her to avoid troublesome stuff at school. So, he decides to become her friend and asks about the course which she had planned to take. He learns that she's going to join Tirieta's lab, and he decides to join the same. This makes the girl happy, and she expresses her gratitude to him, and Haru wonders why he always gets these nutcases in his harem. He formally introduces himself, and as she's about to reveal her name, the scene cuts to Haru's harem enjoying their hot bath. Char and Flay are upset about Haru being in the academy. Suddenly, Char thinks of something and goes off. As Liza and Flay chat, Liza learns that Flay was close to the Demon King. Flay tells her that he was a kind person who wished for humans and demons to live side by side. She tells her that he sacrificed himself when the Princess of Light appeared but thinks he had planned to reincarnate as a human. She believes that Haru is the Demon King, and he wiped his memories of his past life to throw away his naive side. Back when he named her, she almost called him by his real name, which he used as Demon Lord, Irishphilia, and we see that it's the same name that the white-haired girl tells Haru. Haru thinks it's a long name and decides to call her Iris. She then suggests picking out the classes together, and they go to his room. As they enter the room, Char is already there, who is shocked to see Haru with a girl and wonders if she is his girlfriend. He clarifies to her that she's just a friend, and she's relieved. Char mentions that she's not against Haru building a harem, but she wants to become his second wife in the future, and Haru hopes that she doesn't dump him when she gets old, while Iris wonders if this is a normal conversation between siblings. After that, Haru starts picking classes by rolling a dice, and Iris wonders about this. Char explains that any class that Haru picks will be a cakewalk for him, although Haru doesn't really care about the classes as he plans to drop out. He gets bored after a while and asks Char to pick the rest of the classes for him. Iris is surprised at how Haru lets Char pick her classes, and Char tells her that Haru's purpose to come here is beyond this academy, and it's a secret, so she can't tell her. She also mentions that her brother is a transcendent being who doesn't need to learn from anyone else, and Iris is shocked to hear this. Haru thinks that he can't let her sister loose like this, so he asks her to leave. As Iris wonders how Char got here, Haru covers Iris's eyes so that she doesn't notice the teleportation door. Although Iris is suspicious, he asks her not to worry about it, and hopes to get dropped out of the school soon. And that's the end of the video. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to my channel. I will bring more excitement anime in the future. Thanks for watching, bye.